You know the cider, Bristol and cider. Wow, look at that cake!
Wow, look at that cake! Cake!
Wow!
Game over!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to week number 4 of Taskmaster. I'm joined this week by our guest judge, Abby Whiteley. How are you doing, Abby?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Very good, lovely to have you on. So, as a reminder of what this week's task is, it is food fights. So create a representation of your team using food. Now, we've had quite a few entries very much on the cake side of things here.
Ooh.
Are you a cake fan? Are you a bake-off fan?
I am a Bake Off fan, yeah. I love reality TV, so I'm mainly there for the drama, but I'm a big Bake Off fan, so I have high standards.
Very good. Well, I'm going to have to prohibit any Hollywood handshakes, though. Obviously, COVID.
Oh, naturally.
So naturally. Yeah, and your advice to teams was to keep it colourful.
Yes.
Yes. So let's see what the teams have in store for us. So, as always, first up we have Bristol, and they've sent in a lovely video showing us how they got to their team representation. Let's take a look.
Good production value so far. I'm impressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Why are we here?
So dramatic.
To suffer.
If you're hungry, Beck, there's no reason to give up on life like last year's committee. You can just order from the Brizzle Puffs Food
The
Emporium.
delivery is impeccable.
You're right. They have cheesy Brizzle Puffs and curry from the curry house and Nando's. Nando's. Ring ring. Ring ring.
That takes me back to Banana Phone.
Ring ring. Ring ring.
Beautiful photo.
Alright, meet Brizzle Puffs Food Emporium, what do you want?
Hiya, yeah, can I get a cheesy Brizzle Puff starter, a Nando's main, and a full lemon meringue pie for dessert, please?
So the usual then.
Just get me the food.
This is such a throwback. When they said lemon meringue, I thought it might be a reference.
It's here!
Very dynamic. I feel like it's in a Louis Theroux documentary.
We'll still be going Nando's.
Still going Nando's. Still going Nando's, win or lose.
Wait, is that an empty bun?
I have no more.
The pie, it doesn't actually look horrible.
Will you start with first?
I thought the starter was the cheesy one.
10 seconds later.
Inconsistencies.
Honestly.
Right, well, I think I'm ready for dessert.
What's for dessert?
Pie!
That's commitment.
I am one with the pie. I am one with the puff. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what to say about that. There was a lot there. What do you think?
There was a lot going on. I was impressed with the narrative. I thought that went above and beyond the brief, which I liked.
Yeah.
I was confused about because it started saying, like, oh, I want the cheesy thing as a starter. And I was like, oh, what's that going to be? And then it was like, okay, we're just skipping that. So, you know, a little bit of narrative inconsistency. But on the whole, I was pretty impressed. I like the commitment of the player to put the pie in their face was honestly quite representative of Bristol. So, yeah, I'm not mad. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, classic slapstick comedy. I like it. So also included the menu for the Brizzle Puff Food Emporium. Got the front cover of the menu here. Again, good production values on the design, I think. And if we take a look inside the menu, they can. They're showing all of the things on offer. There's a lot going on there.
It's a high level of design. I'm actually impressed. I've definitely seen worse menus in like real food establishments.
Yeah.
You know, the cider, Bristol and cider. Wow, look at that cake! Or the gingerbread representation of the Clifton Suspension Bridge.
That is good.
Honestly, really quite impressive. I don't know if they made it, but even finding that is pretty good. I liked the touch of history of Bristol. That was nice. I see all the prices are like, I saw 420 and 911, and then I was like, oh, they're like references, and then some of them I don't understand.
Yeah, they've gone 666 and then 333 because Clifton gingerbread is only half as good as Nando's. It's all
So there's some commentary here.
And then 420 again. I guess they ran out of ideas. Or 20 you kind of forget sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah. And they've got a little bit on the back of the menu as well.
Oh, do they? Let's have a look.
Nando's Ritual Chant.
That's too long. I'm not reading that.
Yeah, we're not going to go over it. They're basically reopening the whole debate over what is a sandwich, is a sandwich, hot dog, they go into a lot of detail. They've also given themselves a benign food hygiene rating.
Not sure how I feel about that. I'd be concerned.
Yeah, it's improvement necessary, as it says.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot going on there from Bristol. I was considering putting them at the end because I really didn't know what to say about them. A lot going on, but we got through it.
I'm impressed. So, there's a high level of commitment, high production value, a lot of narrative, lots of thought gone into it. Yeah. I'm pretty impressed.
Nice. So we'll move on then to East Midlands Vipers, and they go straight in with this picture. So having a look at their cake here. So the details they gave me on this. This is the representation of their team on the Quidditch pitch. There are 19 gummy snakes involved, 6 on the pitch, on the sidelines. So we have gummy snakes to represent the team, strawberry laces for headbands, chocolate fingers and party rings representing the hoops. We look at the next photo, we can see that they've got Mawam pinballs as the balls, 2 pink ones for the bludgers and a white one for the quaffle. The cake itself is a homemade sponge. They've got Cadbury fudge frosting to represent the mud that is ever present at Quidditch. And the unicorn cake confetti stuff at the front there is grass, and it's not present in the keeper zone because there's never any grass in the keeper. They did mention that the snakes don't have arms and legs, hence why they're sort of holding the balls under their heads. And, we can see there's an overhead picture as well so you can see everyone on the sidelines. But we can see in the last picture that one of the snakes has a knee support despite not having any. So I think it's a bold effort here from Mike. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think what I like about it is that even before you provided all the explanatory text, like, oh, this is the balls and these are the I could, it was legible to me. I understood that the strawberry laces were headbands. I hadn't actually seen the pinballs yet, but that made sense. Yeah. The hoops were very clear. I like that it's transparent. I like that you don't need to have the story explained to you to understand what it's representing. I like that they used, I think it's the Natural Confectionery Company gummy worms in the sub box. They are my favorites. So yeah, I did like. I think it's really detailed. I really enjoyed. I didn't get the kind of mud and the lack of grass in the keeper zone, but I think that's a really fun detail. It's clearly thought through. It's a bit busy to look at overall. It kind of, especially the top view. You're like, oh, okay, there's a lot going on. But I think there's a clear narrative. It certainly is indisputably a representation of a Quidditch team in food. Exactly. I think it's really clear. I like it.
Very nice. So next up, we have Olympians. Let's see if they can step up to the plate on this one. Again, they've gone with a big video to explain what's going on.
At the Olympians QC, we like to make our meals the good old-fashioned way, taking our inspiration from antiquity, like slowly poaching sea bass in white wine vinegar over an open, purpose-built fire.
Definitely Marks and Spencer's vibes.
Yeah, it really is. I'm fascinated by the kind of advert angle they've got.
Parsley and oregano, fish stock delicately added and lovingly dolloped on a plate. Of course, we need a proper Greek salad. A hoyatiki salad, served with a small plate sides of sliced figs and pomegranate, parboiled asparagus, goat's cheese, grapes.
Are cucumber sticks famously
cucumbers,
Greek?
Carved olives.
Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know.
Dried or
Yeah, I would associate cucumber more with England, but we'll go with it.
traditional Greek honey cake, delicately built from 10 layers, separated by a thin film of natural honey, and decorated on top with a mixture of Greek yogurt and icing. Followed
Wait,
by
the
a
loaf
large
comes last?
8-strand
In a
platter
meal?
loaf,
After the cake?
perfect for sharing and dipping
Yeah.
with a drizzle of olive oil. Finally, a dark and white chocolate blend, sprinkled with some community spirit and lovingly filled with a red wine gravy.
Oh, there we go.
This isn't just any feast. This is an over-elaborate Olympians QC feast.
There we go. They were definitely going for the M&S vibe.
Yeah, so, yeah, and we can see from that picture at the end there, they've got the whole feast on display. So I think it's a kind of buffet or sort of dig in, whatever you like. So, not necessarily at the end. So obviously they've gone with the Greek theme, Olympians, Greek gods, natural choice there. They've given some more explanation for some of the individual items. So they chose sea bass because, like the Quidditch players, they will smell if they're left out in the sun. The layer cake shows each member of the team holding the next player up. The 8 strands in the plaited loaf are the 8 university teams that Olympian players have come from to form Olympians. So they've definitely put some thought into the. How does this feast strike you?
Yeah, I like it a lot. There's definitely, as you said, there's a lot of thought gone into it. I'm not sure that some of the components would have been transparent to me if they hadn't explained it. Things like the asparagus. I'm not Greek. So there are parts where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure that's as sort of transparent to me as I would have liked. However, there's a huge amount of thought gone into it, clearly. The production value is incredibly high. I'm really impressed with how much of the food they apparently actually made, which is really impressive. The menu order really threw me. Like, it was like, you'll have the fish, then you'll have a salad, then you'll have a cake, and then bread, and then chocolate, which was all a bit confusing. But overall, yeah, incredibly high quality, really solid effort. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot more sense in the banquet style. Everything.
It does. Yeah.
I guess naturally I would have thought, like, if you're thinking of meals for Olympians, that chicken nuggets would rate highly on the Bolt, going down the Usain Bolt train of thought. But I like the Greek aspect, lovingly superimposed on there. Yes, and shout out to Hugh for the lovely voiceover work that we had in the video. Very nice. And next up, we have Southsea. Again, another video detailing the process of making their entry. So let's take a watch.
A representation of Southsea that is food. The entire baking process will be overlooked by these select Southsea members, myself not included. I am decked out in my uniform. Welcome to the Chaos Cooking channel.
This reminds me of those, is it how-to videos where they smash the eggs?
Yeah.
Look. We're tipping the dry ingredients in now, making a mess, because that's just part of the process. Oh god. Whoopsie. Now you're probably thinking, well, Harriet, this is just a plain cake.
I was thinking that, Harriet.
I thought about that. So that's why we're gonna make it extra Southsea-y. We are going for a blue velvet cake. It's blue time. We want this to be vibrant.
I think that's a lot of food colouring.
Just like the personalities of the players on this team. Right, now we've got the fun part of tipping the mixture into the cake tins without getting it everywhere. So we've reached the point in which we can start putting the trays in the oven. As you can see, they do look a little bit more blue on this side of the camera. Those are the sponges done. We're going to let those cool whilst we go out and get the necessary equipment to do the icing.
Will they be
I'll
blue on
head
the
to
inside, do you
shops
think?
With my assistant
It does beg the question of whether all that food
to get
colouring
the
is
necessary
Yeah.
piping equipment. Ollie, Luna!
Oh, then including dogs.
Ollie.
That feels like bribery,
Nozzle.
but I'm not
The
upset
cakes
about
have
it.
been leveled
Yeah,
off.
it's
And I'm
blatant,
just
but
about
it's
to
still good.
start doing the buttercream icing.
They're kind of blue. Yeah, okay, fair enough. They kind of look like that
Your
sort of
very
polo
blushes.
minty blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tease it.
Ooh.
An interesting submission from Southsea there. We've got a triple layered blue velvet cake, a twist on a classic, with blue rebludgers and wavy frosting motifs on the outside. What are your thoughts on Southsea's entries there?
I really like it. I like the idea of a blue velvet cake. And you know what? It did actually look blue. I had my doubts in sort of the middle bit, but it did actually come out quite blue, which I quite liked. I didn't get that it was a wavy motif around the outside. I might have missed the comment. And it kind of looked a bit like, honestly, I kind of thought of toothpaste when I saw like the kind of the blue streak. But
yeah, if we look at the sort of overview photo they've also given us, you can see they've topped up the blue a bit more, and you can see the waves on the side there.
Oh yeah, okay. Looking at the photo, that does make a bit more sense to me actually. So maybe if I got this in real life, I would be a bit like, oh okay, it's supposed to be the sea. I get it. Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's a solid effort. It definitely looks like the sea, or maybe like little sharks actually.
Yeah, stepping on Megalodon's turf a bit there, I think. A bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's indisputably sea. I'm not sure how much I'm getting Quidditch. You know, I definitely see the representation of kind of the Quidditch team's theme, I guess. But not as much kind of the direct Quidditch component we've seen in some other submissions. But still a really solid effort. I really like it.
Yes, very nice. Well, speaking of megalodons, our next entrant is Velociraptors Quidditch Club. So we have an entry made by Sam Burkett here. Let's take a look. No videos, just straight into the photos for this. They didn't give me much detail on what exactly the cake is, so I don't know what the cake is like inside, but it certainly looks chocolatey, if I had to guess. With pink frosting, Raptor's pink for the raptor and the claw marks on the top. What are your impressions?
It looks fantastic. It's immediately obvious that it's a dinosaur. It looks like they've gone some kind of mirror glaze, which honestly I think is technically quite challenging. So yeah, I'm really impressed with that. They've obviously kind of gone for representing like the first team rather than the club as a whole, but also I appreciate that's not necessarily a fair standard to hold people to, because like most clubs have one team, most of the other submissions only have one team, so I can't be like, oh, you didn't make 2 cakes, that's not fair. I think it's great. It's immediately like if I saw that in like a bakery, I'd be like, oh, that looks exactly like Raptor's kit. Like I get it. It's there.
Yeah. Well, they did also have a second entry, slightly more of a joking one, sitting next to the cake. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a trophy or a medal underneath the real medal, but using some finest British table salt to represent EQC there. Does that give any added bonus to the team, do you think?
I'd say no. I don't know if there's like a specific reference that I'm missing, but unless like it's like British teams being salty at EQC in general. In which case, if you're going for like the British theme, that's not really your team specifically. That doesn't add anything for me, I don't think.
Fair enough. And so we'll move on to our final entrant this week, which is Werewolves Quidditch Club.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they provided us with a video documenting the construction of their entry.
Okay.
So we've got that Trevin Senior chili chocolate cake. Also our playstyle, a little bit spicy, a little bit different, but great combination. For the middle section, the Rice Krispie cake representing the parents who have come to support us, an homage to Greenhouse's mom and all her bakes, and then a wolf biscuit on top. And if you put it all together, it's some pretty great synergy.
I love the reveal.
It's a very nice reveal at the end. So yeah, we can see they've recreated the Werewolves of London logo with 3 components there: the cake at the bottom, the Rice Krispie cake in the middle, and the cookie on the top. How do you see this one comparing to the others?
I think the final product is excellent. I think it's probably one of the stronger final products. I need to think about the reasoning again. So the base is the play, and then the Rice Krispie cake is the parents, the supporters.
Yeah.
And then what's the biscuit?
The biscuit is representing them putting the werewolf logo on everything and selling their merch whenever they get the opportunity.
I see. So the base layer is playing, and then the second layer is supporters, and the third layer is marketing?
Something like that, I think.
Okay, sure. Okay, right. I'm not sure how cohesive a concept that is for me. To be clear, the actual finished piece looks incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, ultimately it's not for me to judge if Werewolves' 3 pillars as a club are marketing, support, and then play at the bottom. I couldn't possibly comment on that club ethos. But certainly the final piece looks incredible. And for the brief, make a representation of your team in food. It has indisputably done that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on chili and chocolate? I know that's a combination that some people like and some people don't. How does that treat you?
I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with it. I wouldn't seek it out. But it's one of those things where, like, if it was at a fancy restaurant, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll try the chili chocolate, feeling fancy, but I probably wouldn't buy it in Tesco. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's where I'm at with it.
I feel it's definitely a bold move to make that the large base of your cake as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I haven't really given any thought to how any of these would be like to actually eat. Like thinking of like the cake with the pile of salt, or like the fish. I suppose the fish with the bread with the chocolate frogs. I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about any of these as like an actual meal. I've been more focused on, like, I guess, the semantic component. But yeah, it looks amazing, certainly.
I'm sure someone would wolf it down quite happily.
Hey.
Wonderful. So that is all the entries. So we can take a look. Okay, so we can see all of our entries here, and now we get to award the extra points. So who are you thinking putting in 3rd place this week?
Okay, so I had a lot of thought about this because there's so many. I think they're all genuinely really good. They're all certainly better than anything I would have done. So I really agonized over it, and I think I'm leaning towards my favorite ones being the ones where there's a lot of dimensions, there's a lot of components, it's been a real whole team effort, there's a lot of kind of angles to it, which gives me the impression that, like, Quidditch is a team sport, lots of people have been involved, and it's got a lot of kind of effort and thought put into it. So those are the ones I'm leaning towards for the top. And then for the others, I think you're looking at kind of a single component, like one person or a couple of people in their kitchen kind of made it. So in that case, I think for that category, I would pick the one that is clearly, like, I think shows the most technical skill and is like immediately like, boom, this is who our team is. And I think all of them did really well, but I think my favorite sort of single item piece would be the Werewolves kind of marketing stack.
Very nice. So Werewolves picking up an extra 3 points for coming in 3rd place there. So you've hinted at who's going to be in the top 2, but who's going to take 2nd and pick up 5 points?
So for 2nd, I wanted to pick a team that I think put a lot of thought into what they'd created. They didn't just kind of go, oh, okay, this is my team, here it is on a cake kind of thing. Not that that's a bad thing, and I think the teams that did that did really well. But they really thought about, like, kind of the whole, what's the word? I'm trying to think of, like,
ethos of the club?
Pardon?
Ethos of the club?
Oh, ethos of the club is good. I was trying to think of the food equivalent of, like, sartorial, like gastric, but that's not the word. Like, the whole food experience, basically.
Right. Yes.
And that really created something kind of cohesive. So I will go for Bristol in 2nd because they had the menu, they had the video. There's a lot of thoughts about Bristol kind of as a place that they'd all sort of incorporated all of those pieces, and I thought that came together really nicely.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and Bristol is a team that has a lot going on. So
yeah,
I think that makes sense. So Bristol picking up 5 points in 2nd place there. I think that leaves us with an obvious candidate in 1st place, but do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I chose Olympians for first. I had some hesitation over some of the aspects of the food, whether it was clear how it kind of linked to the team. But on the whole, once I realized, I went back and rewatched the video, and once I realized they made everything by the looks of the footage, I thought that was a really impressive amount of effort. And I think it's not just about the effort as well, it's also about, like, does it all come together as a cohesive concept? Yes. Does the final video look good? Yes. I think it was a really solid effort. And although I don't always love when someone like explains the reasoning to me, the reasoning, however, is really sound and is really solid. And, you know, if there are some bits I didn't pick up on because I'm a Greek, that doesn't mean the reasoning isn't there, right? It just means that I didn't necessarily pick up on it. So I thought it was a really solid entry to come in first for this week.
Wonderful. So Olympians picking up 7 points again there. So we can take a look at the final leaderboard. Olympians extending their lead up onto 34 points there. Bristol coming to a clear second place on 27 points. Then we have Vipers and Werewolves tied on 22 points. Southsea and Velociraptors tied on 12 points. And Southampton looking a bit lonely at the bottom of the table there with 3 points. If you're out there, Southampton, yeah, we'd like to hear from you again. We miss you. Where'd you go? Where are you at? Chuck an entry in next week. You can still catch up. There's plenty of time. Very nice. Well, thank you, Abby, for coming on and judging this week's entries. Did you have a good time?
I did, yes. Thank you so much for having me.
That is quite all right. Now we are at the halfway point of the Taskmaster competition. 4 weeks down, 4 weeks to go. We'll see you all next week for task number 5. Das End.
Game over.
Yeah, Abby, your comment about Werewolves branding being, you know, top up and anything else, I generally have no idea what you're
I
Yeah, I
assumed
just
this
didn't
is
get
what
it.
you were doing.
I just didn't get it at all.
What's the hat?
Honestly. Oh, it's not Werewolves at all.
Oh. Well.
That was worth the build-up, Sam.